Taylor Hayes, the passionate, resilient, and beloved mother of Steffy and Thomas, has been missing in action for far too long. Though her character often disappears from the forefront, her legacy remains a cornerstone of the Forrester family. Taylor's last stint saw her grappling with her past choices, as well as her complicated relationship with Ridge, but the world's top psychiatrist has unfinished business in Los Angeles, specifically with Brooke Logan and her children. Imagine the stir Taylor's return would cause, as Ridge navigates a complicated love life that spans decades and involves both Taylor and Brooke. His renewed bond with Taylor could throw his relationship into upheaval yet again. And then there's Steffy, who could lean on her mother for strength as she tries to protect her family from Sheila Carter. Taylor's expertise in handling people with troubled minds could be key to helping Steffy, especially if Taylor decides to get involved in Sheila's storyline, adding fuel to the fire between Sheila and Steffy. Thorne Forrester has a history that rivals Ridge's own. He's loved Brooke, has been embroiled in countless family feuds, and has struggled to find his place in the Forrester empire. Despite being Ridge's brother, Thorne has often felt sidelined and struggled to step out of his older brother's shadow. But if Thorne returns now, he might be more determined than ever to claim what he believes is his birthright, a real position of power within Forrester Creations. Thorne's return could signal a potential clash for the control of Forrester Creations, especially with Ridge as CEO. As his romantic life heats up, Thorne could find a fresh start with Katie or even reignite sparks with Donna. In his absence, the family has grown and shifted loyalties, and the introduction of newer family members like Finn adds another layer of complexity. With Thorne back in the fold, Ridge would find himself contending with a fierce sibling rivalry, while Eric faces the difficulty of balancing his love for both sons. Will Thorne's return give him the prominence he's always longed for, or lead to another chapter of Forrester family betrayal? Deacon. The man who loves to blur the lines between villain and anti-hero has always had a magnetic pull on Los Angeles. Last seen diving in and out of schemes and shady alliances, Deacon has a long history with both Brooke and Quinn. His absence has left a void in terms of raw charisma and unpredictability. And now, with the recent drama surrounding Brooke, Ridge, and even Quinn, Deacon's return could throw a wrench in multiple relationships. Deacon's potential reappearance could stir up lingering feelings between him and Brooke, complicating her relationship with Ridge yet again. Or he might just revisit his relationship with Hope, the daughter he once tried to become a better man for. Hope's turbulent marriage to Liam would give Deacon plenty of chances to act as both a guiding force and a wild card in her life. And if he crosses paths with Bill, we might just see another layer of tension in Los Angeles, as Deacon has never been afraid to go after what he wants, whatever the consequences. If there's one character who knows how to survive the odds, it's Amber Moore. She's been missing from the canvas for years, but her manipulative charm and knack for stirring up drama left a lasting impact. From her rocky history with Rick to her feuds with the Forresters and Logans, Amber always had a way of inserting herself into people's lives and leaving chaos in her wake. Amber's return could be a bombshell, especially if she reconnects with the next generation, like Hope and Steffy. Imagine Amber reaching out to Steffy, using her as an ally in her quest for personal redemption or new business ventures, only to reveal ulterior motives. If Amber were to cross paths with Hope and Liam, her tumultuous past with Rick could add a layer of complexity to the already tangled love triangle between Hope, Liam, and Steffy. With her ambition reignited, Amber might even go after a spot at Forrester Creations, using her charm and cunning to infiltrate the family business once more. Now, this one would be a twist straight out of a mystery novel. Storm Logan, the eldest Logan sibling, sacrificed his life to save Katie many years ago, but if daytime drama has taught us anything, it's that no one is ever truly gone. Could Storm's survival somehow be possible? Or could he be returning in another way? Maybe as a long-lost twin or a product of some return would bring an emotional upheaval to the Logan family, especially for Katie, who has carried the weight of his loss for years. His reappearance would also reopen old wounds between the Logans and Forresters, sparking tension as Katie, Brooke, and Donna reconcile the man Storm once was with the man he has now become. A twist involving Storm would be a heart-wrenching yet exciting storyline, as family members struggle to understand the depth of his sacrifice and the secrets he may have kept buried all these years. The impact of this MIA character's return. Whichever character returns, their reappearance is certain to shake up the lives of our beloved residents of Los Angeles. With deep-rooted family ties, unresolved romances, and personal vendettas on the line, this iconic return will reverberate through the show's core relationships, bringing suspense, heartache, and perhaps a touch of much-needed closure. But one thing's certain, this isn't just a nostalgic nod to fans. This MIA character's comeback is bound to bring a storm of secrets, power plays, and reckonings that will leave no one untouched. Brace yourselves, bold, and the beautiful fans. The return of this MIA character is about to make waves, and no one will be safe. Steffy Forrester has returned to Los Angeles with renewed purpose. Haunted by Shayla's lingering presence and her insincere claims of turning over a new leaf, Steffy is resolute. Shayla might think she shed her old deadly skin, but Steffy knows all too well that a snake is always a snake. She plans to dig deep, using every connection and resource at her disposal to drag Shayla's past back into the spotlight, ensuring that her reputation stays in shambles. Steffy orchestrates a series of subtle attacks, planting seeds of Shayla's past deeds in the minds of unsuspecting acquaintances and family members. All gossip resurfaces and ominous whispers float through Los Angeles about Shayla's 9 toes of terror days. Steffy is certain her plan is foolproof, but as the saying goes, pride comes before the fall. Meanwhile, Shayla senses something's amiss. The whispers have grown louder, and old acquaintances she hasn't seen in years seem to pop up wherever she goes. At first, she dismisses it, attributing the encounters to coincidence, but it quickly becomes evident that someone is deliberately stirring the pot. When Shayla crosses paths with a former associate who smugly reminds her of her past deeds, her calm exterior begins to fracture. In a tense exchange, her old instincts come flooding back, and it takes every ounce of restraint for her not to lash out. But the smirk on her acquaintance's face, coupled with the unmistakable feeling of being manipulated, sets off alarm bells. Steffy may think she's clever, but Shayla isn't someone to be played with. For the first time in years, Shayla's dangerous instincts resurface, stirring like a beast awakening from a long slumber. And as her suspicions turn towards Steffy, her anger smolders into a simmering rage. Determined to protect her reformed image, Shayla begins to spiral. She confronts Steffy, demanding answers, but Steffy's words drip with condescension as she pushes Shayla to the edge. Some things never change, Shayla, Steffy sneers, and neither do you. The words strike a nerve, and the restraint Shayla has built up begins to crumble. Memories of her violent past flood her mind, and the familiar need for control returns with a vengeance. Steffy's words echo in her ears as she walks away, the taunt replaying in her mind. In that moment, Shayla knows that the reformed version of herself won't be enough, not if she wants to protect herself and prove Steffy wrong. The 9 toes Shayla begins to emerge, each step taking her closer to the ruthless, unrestrained woman she once was. Steffy, oblivious to the monster she's resurrected, continues her campaign. Confident that Shayla's fragile grip on sanity is weakening, she pushes harder, setting up situations to highlight Shayla's unpredictability. But unbeknownst to Steffy, Shayla has begun to set her own trap. Shayla starts with small, calculated moves, unsettling phone calls, veiled threats, and appearances at key family gatherings. Each move is deliberate, reminding Steffy that Shayla is watching, waiting, and calculating. Steffy begins to feel the walls closing in, yet she refuses to back down. She believes she's still in control, but the tide is shifting fast. One night, Steffy finds a mysterious note slipped under her door. The message is cryptic, but unmistakable. You woke the beast. Chilled but undeterred, Steffi resolves to stand firm, not realizing the true extent of Shayla's game. Shayla, now fully embracing her old self, decides it's time to send a clearer message. She targets Steffi's most vulnerable spot, her family. In a calculated maneuver, Shayla orchestrates an accidental encounter with Steffi's children. It's harmless enough, but Steffi's instincts scream at her that Shayla's proximity to her children is a warning. Desperate, Steffi tries to rally her family against Shayla, but they're hesitant, dismissing her fears as paranoia. Yet, she can't shake the feeling that Shayla has crossed a line. Each encounter Shayla engineers makes Steffi more fearful and paranoid, and soon, even her closest allies begin to question her sanity. With each encounter, Shayla chips away at Steffi's resolve, manipulating her emotions until Steffi is isolated and on edge. Shayla has become the predator, stalking her prey, relishing in Steffi's crumbling confidence. Finally, Steffi can't take it anymore. She confronts Shayla, demanding to know what she wants. Shayla's calm, almost amused demeanor catches her off guard. "Isn't this what you wanted, Steffi?" Shayla taunts, her voice laced with venom. "You wanted to prove that I was still a monster. Well, congratulations, you did. Now you get to see just how right you were." Steffi's bravado falters, and she realizes she may have unleashed something far beyond her control. Shayla's eyes gleam with a sinister energy, a reminder of the danger lurking within her. She issues a final warning, letting Steffi know that there's no going back. From that moment on, Steffi lives in constant fear. Shayla's presence is everywhere. She seems to anticipate Steffi's every move, planting seeds of doubt and fear that haunt her at every step. Steffi's once unshakable confidence has been eroded, and her loved ones watch in concern as she becomes a shadow of her former self. But Shayla isn't done. With her old instincts back in full force, she plans to reclaim her control, ensuring that Steffi, and everyone else, knows that she's not someone to be trifled with. Steffi's gambit to unmask Shayla has backfired spectacularly. Instead of exposing a broken woman, she's reawakened a dangerous force of nature. And now, as Shayla prowls Los Angeles with a renewed thirst for power, Steffi realizes that she may have set something in motion that no one can stop. Growing up, Will has seen the impact of his father's larger-than-life persona on everyone around him. Bill's aggressive business tactics have left enemies in their wake, while his complicated love life, filled with betrayals, reconciliations, and endless romantic entanglements, has caused friction with Katie and others close to him. Will's mom, Katie, has worked hard to instill a sense of values in her son, hoping to prevent him from taking on Bill's more cutthroat qualities. And it seems to be working. But as Will matures, he's caught in the tension between wanting to forge his own identity and the undeniable pull of the Spencer legacy. Despite his intentions, Will finds himself drawn to Spencer Publications. He wants to make a difference, maybe even change things from the inside out. But the more time he spends in his father's world, the more he realizes that his father's personality, values, and influence are woven deeply into the company. To reject Bill's influence, Will would have to reinvent the very foundation of Spencer Publications, challenging the company's culture in ways that would make waves, not all of them positive. It's only a matter of time before Will's desire to bring ethical practices into the business collides with his father's established methods, and that friction could set him up for his first major setback in the corporate world. 2. A new approach to relationships, or more complications. Will has watched his father's romantic entanglements with a mix of confusion and frustration. Bill's on-again, off-again relationships, especially with Brooke and Katie, have been a source of embarrassment and heartbreak for Will over the years. Determined not to repeat his father's mistakes, Will vows to prioritize loyalty, stability, and respect in his relationships. But in the world of the bold and the beautiful, things rarely go according to plan. As Will starts dating, he might find that the qualities he's inherited from his father, intensity, ambition, and charm, can sometimes lead to the same complications that have plagued Bill's love life. If Will attempts to maintain rigid standards, expecting perfection and control in his relationships, he might end up alienating the very people he's trying to connect with. Will's determination to be better could turn into an obsession with avoiding his father's mistakes, causing strain and pushing him toward the very behavior he despises. And if he encounters people who try to manipulate him or capitalize on his family name, Will may have to confront the harsh reality of vulnerability and trust in romantic relationships. 3. Unintended consequences in the business world. One of the ways Will believes he can truly differentiate himself from his father is by choosing a career path outside of Spencer Publications. But Los Angeles is a small town when it comes to business, and Spencer Publications casts a long shadow. Any career Will pursues could ultimately lead him into situations where he has to make morally difficult choices, ones that test his ideals and remind him of Bill's more cutthroat methods. If Will tries to establish himself in a different industry, like philanthropy or law, he may attract attention as the son of Bill Spencer rather than for his own achievements. The burden of the Spencer name could make people skeptical, assuming he has ulterior motives or the same drive for power as his father. Even worse, if Will's competitors think they're dealing with a soft-hearted Spencer, they might exploit his good intentions, forcing him to confront whether he'll maintain his own values or use the Spencer name's power to his advantage. There's no easy answer for Will in these situations, and each decision he makes will either strengthen his resolve to be different from Bill or chip away at it. 4. Family ties and the inevitable collision with Bill. Family loyalty runs deep in the Spencer family, but so does family rivalry. By vowing to be the opposite of his father, Will risks alienating himself from the family empire and his father's wealth, support, and business wisdom. Although Will might want to carve his own path, a clean break could mean turning down a considerable inheritance and the security that comes with being a Spencer. Even more difficult is the reality that a rejection of Bill's values is essentially a rejection of Bill himself, a stance that will inevitably drive a wedge between father and son. Bill, with his pride and temper, is unlikely to take Will's judgment of him lightly. The tension could escalate, leading to a full-blown family feud if Will continues down this path. Bill may even attempt to manipulate or intimidate Will back into the fold, reminding him of everything he owes to the Spencer name. And if Will refuses, he could be cut off from the very family and resources he's known his whole life. This could put him in a vulnerable position, ultimately forcing him to make sacrifices he wasn't prepared for and pushing him closer to the aggressive tactics he once swore to avoid. 5. Learning from his father's mistakes or repeating them. While Will's intentions to be his own person are commendable, his determination to do everything the opposite way of his father could backfire if he becomes too rigid. Life and